on his heels. Not far, a trio of Vietnam-era surplus M113 armored combat vehicles sat, the red, green, black Afghan triangle painted on their sides. They stayed where they were. Perimeter security was their job. Jim's was transport. The back door popped open as he approached, and one of his security team dressed in tan camo held the huge door open as Jim climbed the steps. Ted went to the other MRAP. Inside his, Jim found his three-man personal team ready. Alex sat just behind the driver's hatch, laptop open and watching the screen. Nino was up in the cupola, with both hands on the big Ma Deuce 50 caliber machine gun, eyes scanning for threats. Jake, the door gunner, pulled the door closed once Jim was clear.
"Let's roll!"
Alex barked to the driver without looking away from his screen. He was currently controlling 4 drones, 2 orbiting the airfield, 1 tailing the taxiing C-130, and the final one above the MRAPs. During his time with the U.S. Air Force, Alex had spearheaded the next-generation drone program that was only now beginning to be deployed. Truth be told, the Pentagon probably wouldn't appreciate some of the tech Alex had integrated into Jim's company. When the transport plane braked to a stop in the parking area, Jim's Max Pro was already backing up onto the tail, even before the ramp began to drop. As the ramp lowered, 4 German KSK, Kommando Spezialkräfte, moved to the end and rode the ramp downward. They all wore state-of-the-art battle gear, reticles over one eye, and weapons ready. "Wow," Jake said when he saw their weapons. Jim glanced through the armored windows. The 2 on the end of the ramp carried Heckler & Koch MP7s, the 2 at the rear HK-417s by the same manufacturer.
"These KSK guys are going full blitzkrieg."
"Ease up on them," Jim warned. "They're not happy with the arrangement."
"Since when are the Krauts happy about anything?"
Nina asked from her gunner position. Like the heavy machine gun in the other truck, she had hers pointed outward, away from the transport. It was mostly for show, anyway. If there was anything out there dangerous enough to need the Big 50, Alex would have seen it long ago. The short blonde looked ready for action. Of course, she was always ready. The ramp hit the ground, and the 4 KSK men spread out to make an armed and armored shield. They looked every which way, eyes sharp, taking in every detail. Jim waited. Finally, the closest rapped on the door, which Jake popped on cue. The soldier on the ground had a lantern jaw and almost no neck. He looked up inside, taking in every face he saw. Jim smiled and held out his government-issued credentials for him to examine.
"Herr Cartwright?"
he asked. "Ja, das bin ich," Jim said with a nod.
"Sehr gut,"
the soldier said with his own nod, then spoke through the throat mic, taped there.
"Wir sind klar, fortzufahren."
A second later, a solitary woman walked briskly down the ramp. Jake prepared to offer her a hand up, but she didn't look like she wanted it. Jim approved. So many people like that preferred to be coddled. Instead, the woman grabbed the handle to the side of the door and hoisted herself in. Jim held out his hand in greeting. "Chancellor Vidal, on behalf of Cartwright's International, welcome to Afghanistan." She took the hand and shook it firmly, as the men outside buttoned her in and moved to board the other MRAP. The MRAP rumbled across the runway and toward the highway. These had been retrofitted with air ride, and it still felt like rolling down a hill in an old-fashioned metal wagon. Of course, the roads looked like the surface of the moon. The drivers knew to not dodge the craters, because the people who left mines would take advantage of the tendency to dodge craters. While the Max Pro could take almost any mine up to an anti-tank type, it would likely be disabled, and that left them open for